What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some news concerning Micheal Venom Page. You know, Micheal Venom Page was savagely knocked out. You know, he took his first loss. He's a boxer slash MMA guy, and he had an article, and I'm not going to read it verbatim, but I will paraphrase what he had to say about concussions. He said that Anthony Joshua was concussed, was damaged coming into that fight because he knows firsthand what it's like to have a concussion. If you don't know about concussions, concussions work like this. When you initially get knocked out or receive a concussion, okay, you don't have to get knocked out to receive a concussion. That's why I cleared that up. But when you receive a concussion, initially after that, you feel fine. Now, you might get sick all of a sudden, like you just got up too fast, your head starts spinning, and according to Micheal Venom Page, he threw up, his head started spinning, he felt sick. A week later, he felt fine. He went on holiday, he comes back, a couple weeks later, he still got that dizzy feeling, okay? And 2 more weeks after that, he still felt the effects of this concussion. Concussion is an ongoing process, okay? So if imagine a person that got knocked out 2 weeks before going into a fight, like he claims that Anthony Joshua was. When he hit Joshua, when Andy Ruiz hit Joshua, they were with glancing blows. Those blows weren't supposed to hurt Joshua. However, Joshua did get beat by Andy Ruiz because he took his eye off the ball, and Andy Ruiz was disarming. He wasn't a guy that he felt could hurt him or could put him in any kind of situation, even with a concussion. And that, to me counterpunching that's still Anthony Joshua's fault. However, back to what Micheal Venom Page said. He said that you could tell something wasn't right about him, the way he was acting, because the same characteristics that Anthony Joshua was showing, he also knows what they were because he also had those same things. He felt that same way. It's something that when Ruiz hit him, it activated that feeling again, because a concussion is lingering and you just don't get over concussion overnight. You know, I've done study on guys like Timothy Bradley. He got a concussion with Ruslan Pervandikov. He had one for 3 months, people. So they last for a while. It's a process. This is cerebral damage. This isn't not a punch to the side or anything else. This is something that affects your cranium, okay? Your cerebral, your brain, okay? So these concussions are serious. And he said that Anthony Joshua has a chin. That's why you knew he had a chin, because he showed it against Klitschko. He showed it against Dillian Whyte with that left hook that Dillian Whyte's known for. He was able to take those punches and bounce back, right back, recover. But he wasn't able to do that with the Ruiz fight, and Ruiz wasn't even punching nearly as hard as those other 2 fighters. So those are the words of Micheal Venom Page, okay? And I know people are tired of this. I know it's like beating a dead horse. But if this didn't happen, okay, let's be objective. They deny it all, of course. You know what I mean? Eddie Hearn, he denies it. Anthony Joshua denies it. And, but if it was true, people, to whoever would listen, would they have said anything? You know what I'm saying? 8 days before the fight, and some shit like that did happen. They were trying to catch up because Anthony Joshua was busy doing promotions. He was busy going to events. He was busy promoting. He was busy doing interviews and all this other stuff going around. and he was paying attention to everything else except the guy in front of him. Man, he had to make up time to fight, to spar, to prepare, which he didn't take time to do. And that did happen. Do you think for a second that anyone, Matchroom, Eddie Hearn, Joshua, even himself, do you think that they would mention it? You think that they would come out and say, yeah, something did happen? No fucking way they wouldn't. They couldn't. Okay? For one, it's legal at this point because they lied on the checkoff chart. Okay? They have a health checkoff chart before you get into the ring. Did you have any prior injuries before you getting into the ring? You know what I mean? That's legally binding. That means that's perjury. You're lying. You're lying about your physical well-being. So no, they wouldn't say that. And who else would be in trouble? Joshua's team, right? It'll make Eddie Hearn look like a fucking slime ball. And then it'll make Rob McCracken look like a fucking dirtbag. You know what I mean? He would look like, oh, he's considerate towards his fighter, the top fighter he has in his stable. He pushed him out with a guy that was ready to fucking fight like Andy Ruiz was. You know? And Joshua hurt Andy Ruiz first. Took him off his feet, put him on the seat of his ass, and then tried to engage with him. And then for what it's worth, they found out from the punches that he received, and they didn't look like hard punches. They didn't. Now, I will say that. I'm not saying that he was concussed or whatever, but if it was, those type of punches that could hit him where it hit him could activate that feeling. So I could understand objectively where Michael Venom Page was coming from. You know, those, my example was Lionheart with Jean-Claude Van Damme. You know, everybody knows this channel. I'm a Van Damme fan. And in this fight, in this movie, he was suffering damage to the ribs. And then it was a point where his rib was broken. Okay. And he fought the last guy. And then comes to find out this motherfucker hit him one time and found out this dude got a fucked up rib. And nobody really knew that except his homeboy, Joshua. Right? And Joshua knew it and he bet against him and all that. But this is a movie. But this is real life, people. There's no movie in this. You know, the good guy doesn't win all the time. In boxing, there is no good guy, bad guy. It's just one opponent against another opponent. Okay? And one opponent, if he came in fucked up or half cocked, he shouldn't have been in there in the first place. That's what I'll say to it. But it is interesting, to say the least, what Michael Venom Page had to say coming from his point of view. He ain't got no pony in the show. He doesn't have any reason to say, oh, well, I think he was concussed, because he's been concussed and he knows what it's like to be concussed. Okay? And it's not out of the picture. You got a guy like that. Listen, let's say this. If Manny Pacquiao can bring up an excuse about his shoulder, right? And still fight, if that was what happened, my shoulder, right? And that's his excuse. Going into a fight, lying on the chart, so he says, you think he's going to pass up that money just like you think Josh was going to pass up the opportunity of showcasing himself in America? After all, it was rather disarming. Look at Andy Ruiz. He doesn't look like he could fuck you up, right? He's a replacement second. You know what I mean? And they looked at his appearance for third. Come on, let's be real. That's what happened. So that possibly could have happened. I'm not sure at this point, because you don't want to make excuses for a person that don't make excuses for themselves. See, back when Manny Pacquiao made that excuse, I have no excuses but my shoulder, but you see what I'm saying? Like, you had no excuses, motherfucker, but you just gave us one. That doesn't make any sense. No excuses but my shoulder. But nothing. There's no excuses, right? So don't give us one. Okay? And then people were saying and trying to bring that up, you know, diehard Pac-tards. You know what I mean? Not Pacquiao fans. Pac-tards. There's a difference. You got Pacquiao fans, then you got Pac-tards. And they were up there. And they were like, oh, he wasn't ready. We need a rematch. And shit like that. So I'm like, wow. Okay, whatever. But it is interesting to hear Michael Page describe his concussion, you know, and it's definitely worth looking at. So I'll tell you what, I'm going to leave the link below and let you guys read it. Let you guys check it out. Tell me what you think of it. Let me know if it has any merit of reality. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.